But what we are going to talk about right now is something that I've been wanting to talk about for weeks. That is our review of Batman Arkham Knight.
Strap yourself in.
You bet. Lock yourself into that Batmobile, because here we go. I was vibrating with excitement when we got our hands on this game like a week and a half ago. The people at Warner Brothers were nice enough to send us copies. Brian, Christine, you and I played it on the Xbox One.
Yes.
Brian, you played it on the PlayStation 4.
Yep.
So there's a couple of things I want to talk about right off the bat. First of all, if you have played the previous versions, so Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, or even Arkham Origins, this game assumes that you have already played those games at least a little bit, because you start off with certain things like the Batarang and the remote control Batarang and the line launcher and the explosive gel, and there's no tutorial as to how to use it. It just kind of says, well, you've played the previous version, so you should know how to use these. So I like that. Now, if you haven't played the previous versions, it's not rocket science. If you've played video games, you'll be able to figure it out. It'll just take you a little bit. But I like the fact that this game kind of just picks up and says, all right, you played the previous versions. We know you played Arkham City. Let's go.
Also, there's story points that I think you might miss if you start off with this game.
100%.
Yes, the beginning of the game might be a little shocking if you didn't know what was happening.
Agreed. If you've never played any of the Arkham games, the very, very, very first cutscene, you're going to be like, what?
What am I doing?
What's happening?
What's happening?
What's going on?
Why
Also, by the way, very graphic.
Yeah, the very first scene is very graphic. Yeah. And the fact that you have to keep hitting that button to keep it going, it's just like,
We're nailing that point home.
Yeah, really. Kind of burning it home, really. They're burning it home more than anything.
Searing it in.
And that's the other thing I was going to bring up, Brian, is that there are, throughout the game, Batman and the characters in the game refer to things that happened, particularly in Arkham City. Origins was made by Warner Brothers, and it's a prequel. Arkham Asylum was kind of just a sort of a standalone. They do reference a lot of stuff that happened in Arkham City.
They also, strangely though, before we move on, they reference a lot of stuff that happened in Origins.
Yeah.
And
I guess.
There is like one mechanic that happened in Origins that happens in this game where you sort of rewind footage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was from Origins.
Yeah.
But specifically at the very beginning, I was walking around this police station trying to find the way out, because apparently the front doors have been blocked. It's really weird. If you play this game at the very beginning, go to the detention cells. For some reason, the way out is through the detention cells. But I'm getting off point here. What I was trying to say is that they have this evidence room. And in the game, it is their evidence room, but in reality, it's kind of a trophy case. It's kind of like a here, take a look at all these things that we had in previous games, and we'll have like a little soundbite to go with each of them. And a lot of them actually were referencing the last game made by Warner Brothers Montreal, which I just find shocking, because every time leading up to this game, when Warner Brothers and their Montreal game was mentioned, you would just hear the guys at Rocksteady go, oh, this game, the one we're making right now, is the end to our trilogy. Yeah. Which, in reality, is the fourth game in the franchise.
But I feel like that's more of a nod to the fans who have played the game. Just to say, you invested your time, you played the first three of these games.
I know, it was just shocking considering how...
it is interesting.
They really tried, like seriously, they tried really hard to distance themselves from the game made by Warner Brothers Montreal. And to have them bring in all this stuff, in fact, some game mechanics as well, just seemed a little weird to me.
All right, interesting. The other thing I wanted to say is that I found that one of the things they really did with this game is they simplified it a lot. In the sense that in the previous... It's not that it was complicated in the previous games, but in the previous games, when you were trying to find your destination, and they have that little marker on the top and Batman's trying to like fly towards it or whatever, sometimes it became a little like tough to find out where you're going. In this game, I found that they just made it really easy, and it wasn't that complicated. Now, obviously, the big addition in this game is the Batmobile.
Yeah.
And that figures into this game huge, and you get into the Batmobile really quickly. I would say within the first...
We talked about last week, within the first 20
minutes of the game, you're in the Batmobile.
Yeah, which is strange because that Batmobile is kind of garbage.
Nah, I disagree.
Have you driven it?
Yes, but I don't play racing games though. I don't play racing games. I'm not looking for turn mechanics and stuff in that game.
Listen, as somebody who plays a lot of games where I drive a virtual car, I will tell you right now, the Batmobile in this game doesn't have turn mechanics. That's how bad it is.
One of the things I was talking to Christine about before is Batman. One of the staples of Batman's character is that he doesn't kill people. If you read the comic books, if you watch the movies, Batman doesn't kill. But playing as Batman in this game, I have murdered a ton of people because that Batmobile has run over so many people that it's unbelievable. I just have been and I don't intend to do it. I just mow down people as I'm turning corners.
Well, they walk into the middle of the street.
Get out of the way. The Batmobile's coming.
Yeah.
Well, I would say that I'm a pretty decent driver, both in real life and virtually. There's just no way to control that vehicle.
Yeah.
I was literally running through the corners of buildings and taking up fences and destroying cars and also running over people. You just couldn't turn the darn vehicle.
Yeah.
And also, who creates a game with a vehicle in it and has the left trigger be something other than stop or reverse? It's been like that forever. One trigger is drive or gas, and the other one is brake. But
the
in
left
this game,
trigger is a pretty important mechanic in that game, though. It does.
Yeah, but you can put that on a different button. It doesn't have to be on the braking button.
But you need that button, though. It puts you into tank mode, and you need to hold that to do the other stuff. I like the fact that it was left trigger. But again, I don't play a lot of racing games, though, so that's where our differences come in.
Every time I tried to stop, I'd hit that button, become a tank.
Yeah, I didn't like that you had to keep holding onto the tank button while you were doing stuff, because especially in some of those tank battles, I was like, okay, I get it. Couldn't I have just clicked it?
Yeah.
And then it would stay in tank mode and then unclick it and get out of tank mode?
All right, so let's talk about the tank battles. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, if I was to give this game one major criticism, there's too many of them. There's too many tank battles.
And that's a criticism that I could put across multiple parts of the game.
Yeah.
There is a really cool, when it starts off, a really cool storytelling mechanic that they have inside the game. And they just use it over and over and over again. And I really wish I could be more descriptive, but I feel like I would ruin parts of the game if I told you more than I'm telling you right now. But it's not just a tank battle. I feel like this game is full of
repetition.
Exactly. And it's not just the tank battle, like I said. It's not just the story mechanics I was telling you about. For example, the firemen. How many firemen do I really have to go across the city and rescue? A lot. How many towers do I have to take down? A lot. How many mines do I have to find in the city and disable? A lot.
Yeah.
It got across the board.
There is definitely a lot of repetition.
Across the board, there's just a lot of filler in this game.
So I'm going to go to what you were talking about then. Well, first of all, back to the tank battles. Not only is there a lot of them, but they're long. Some of them are really long, and I think they could have cut down on that. So they could have cut down on the number they had, and they could have cut down on the length of some of the tank battles because they take a really long time. And I'm like, I'm Batman. I want to just go fight missions. I don't want to have to. And the thing is, it just comes out of nowhere, right? You're driving in the Batmobile, you turn a corner, and then there's a bunch of tanks, and you've got to take them out. And it's the same thing you've done several times already in the game. But what I will say is there is so much content in this game. There are so many side missions that you can do that are good side missions. Like you mentioned the fireman one. There's one involving Catwoman and the Riddler.
The PlayStation version has a DLC code in the box for who's the Joker's assistant?
Harley. That's
Harley
the Xbox. The Xbox has it too.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
I thought it was a PlayStation only thing. Anyhow, I haven't found that yet. I've been playing this game for 15 hours, I think, at this point. I have yet to find that character and her side missions yet. That's how much stuff is in this game. But like we said, that may not necessarily be a good thing.
I think it is.
Because there are certain points in this game that are legitimately amazing. There's also 15 firefighters you have to go track down, which isn't great.
Now, the main story mission, I loved in this game. I really enjoyed the main story mission. I found it was dark as you want a Batman storyline, and the whole story of the Arkham Knight, who you actually you don't have to wait too long to interact with the Arkham Knight. I'm not going to give too much away, but you don't find out about the history of the Arkham Knight for a while. But the Arkham Knight shows up periodically and stuff happens. But I really liked the storyline. I thought it was really good. I thought they incorporated other characters into the storyline really well. I just thought the way they entrenched everything into the gameplay and into the story, because story is really one of the most important things to any Batman story or any Batman game. And it was great. All right, so we're running out of time here, Brian. So why don't you give us your score and then I'll give you mine.
I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I feel like there are some huge issues in terms of pacing in this game. But if you just want sort of a dark, brooding playground to play around in, I feel like that's where this game shines. I feel like those missions where it's just okay, here's this world, just go at it. those are the ones that really make this game awesome.
All right, this is going to come as no surprise, but I'm going to give this game a 9 out of 10. Now, you're right, Brian. It does have issues, some of the ones I mentioned, but I think as somebody who's played the 3 games previous to this and the end of this particular Rocksteady trilogy, it was worth the wait. It was tremendous on consoles. We know there's problems on PC. The storyline is great. The gameplay is great. And just being able to... even more than Arkham City, which was so great. This really embodied the true kind of feelings of Batman, of playing a game as Batman. And this is as close as we're ever going to get to being Batman, except for the fact that I am Batman. And I just really, really love this game. 9 out of 10. We're looking forward to hear your reviews as well. Tweet us at GotGame590. Email us, gotgame@sportsnet590.ca.